All right, got a chance to see Atlas on Netflix starring Jennifer Lopez. Let's talk about it right now. All right, everybody, welcome back to the channel. I am your host, Frank Zanka. I'm an award-winning screenwriter, novelist, and comic book writer, and we're going to talk about some movies now that I am back because I'm also a filmmaker myself, and I just was in LA for a month working on a film, working with some great people, working with Crispin Glover from Back to the Future and Charlie's Angels, and now I'm waiting on my next one, but I think I'm going to try to produce something or raise money for something that I've written and produce that one. So love working on other people's projects, but it would be nice occasionally to work on my own. So in the meantime, we're going to talk about some movies, and also on Wednesday we are doing a live stream for my card game Myth Lords. And this is a card game where you can play as the old classic monsters. And we also have an expansion for Wizard of Oz as well. It's a fun little deck building game from 1 to 4 players. I will be playing the solo mode, so it does have a solo as well. But if you look in the link below, you can see a place where you can actually purchase and pre-purchase the game by pledging on BackerKit, which is kind of like Kickstarter. We are fully funded, so it is going to deliver, so there's no worry about that. And there will also be a link there for the live stream as well. It's a great time to jump into the campaign because we are fully funded. We've already unlocked the 5th player, and now we're jumping into other stretch goals as well. So anyway, check that out in the link below. Remember to like and subscribe, and let's jump into Atlas. All right, so Atlas is a sci-fi. As everybody who ever knows me knows, I really like sci-fi. And I watched a lot of reviews on this film as well, and nobody's been really kind to it. Everybody said it was pretty bad. So I walked into this thing thinking it was going to be really bad. So yeah, I'm a big fan of J-Lo, and sometimes she's good, sometimes she's not so good. But I do enjoy watching her films, even though a lot of them are like middle of the road. But she has kept herself up in really great shape, and I think she's pretty much as old as I am. So, but this is directed by Brad Peyton, who has produced better stuff than he's directed. So he directed like San Andreas. I can't believe they're making a sequel to that, but they are. Rampage, that was pretty bad. Stuff like that. But he did Frontier, I think, with Jason Momoa, which is that, I think it's the Apple Plus thing. But he did produce a film, I think it was for Netflix, called Sweet Girl, with Jason Momoa, that I really liked, and had the girl from Dora the Explorer, that was also in Madam Web. I think she's great. Madam Web just had really some bad stuff going on. So let's move on from that. But then let's talk about the writers. So Leo Sheridan really hasn't done much. He did a series called Startup that I never heard of. But Aaron Eli Colette, I think that's how you say it, Eite Colette. So he's done some other stuff that is well known. But so the first guy probably not so much. The second guy probably carried him. He did Spiderwick Chronicles. He did Lock and Key. He was the showrunner for Lock and Key that I thought was pretty good. He also did co-executive producer on Star Trek Discovery, but we won't hold that against him. That's a really bad thing. But he's also one of the co-producers on Heroes back in the day, all the way from the beginning. Now the first couple of seasons of Heroes was very good, and then it, died off. But it almost went through 100 episodes. So yeah. And Sterling K. Brown is in this. I have no idea why, since he has such a small role here. He was really good in American Fiction as well. And Simu Liu, who's just about in everything now. He's like as played out as Pedro Pascal at this point. I'm tired of seeing those two guys. Don't we have any other actors besides these two guys? They should just star together. The Simu Liu and Pedro Pascal show. Woo! So anyway, Simu Liu plays a android in this, and it's very Terminator. So is it as bad as everybody made it out to be? No, it's not. It's not as bad as everybody made it out to be. Does it have problems? Hell yeah. Is it great? No. Is it good? I guess it depends on how you talk to. I thought it was okay. I think it was good. In fact, it didn't really keep me to my seat because I watched it over 3 sittings. So I was definitely able to turn it off and turn it back on. And that's not a good sign for any film. But I didn't hate it. And I really didn't dislike it. I just thought it was okay. So, if going into, you have a great premise. Hey, you have J-Lo in a mech. We're going to have a mech thing. And that sounds great. We don't really have too many, mech suit warrior stuff going on. And unfortunately, we really don't get much of that. So I don't want to go really into too much spoilers, but she is an analyst. Her mom, played by the evil queen from Once Upon a Time. She doesn't get enough roles, I think. I think she's great. She doesn't get enough roles. It was great to see her, even if it was a tiny little role here. But it has a lot of world-building problems. So she created Simu Liu because she was working with AI. And, again, it's really not a spoiler, but I guess they can sync with human minds. Okay, so in this, AI can sync with human minds. And he was able to sync to a certain link where you can control human muscles. I don't buy that. I didn't buy that at all. So anyway, he forces her to kill herself, basically. And that was one of the holes for me. And also, so she was an analyst, okay? So J-Lo knew Simu Liu's character, Hansen, or I forgot what his name was, something like Hansen or something to that effect. And Harlan. And he even on IMDb, he has her same last name as she does. So she was a child, and of course now she's grown up. She hasn't seen him since she's been grown up, but he's been creating his own Terminator unit, and his whole thing is that's the same old thing. Humans are going to destroy themselves. It's my job to make sure that doesn't happen. So instead, I'm going to kill you all. I'm going to kill you all. There's only going to be a certain amount of you left, so I can control you all. And that's how basically the storyline. We've seen it all before, but I keep bringing up the fact that she's a analyst because she is not trained in these mechs, nor does she want to be synced with an AI because of what she experienced with Simu Liu's character, Harlan. I'm going to call him Harlan from this time point out. So she doesn't want to sync with things, so she doesn't want to get into a mech or whatever else, but she wanted to be a ranger, but again, she was never trained. So throughout this entire thing, she's in a mech, controlling a mech, all this other stuff, but was never trained to do it. So the AI is speaking to her, but they're not synced. But again, I guess what she's doing, she knows enough to do this, but by the end, she's doing flips in this thing and stuff like that. And I know she's synced by that point, but I'm just like, really? You have no training in this, and you're able to control it so well? So there's a lot of stuff I just didn't buy. If she had said, look, I'm heavily trained this thing, I already know how to do it, I'm just not synced. Okay, well, that I could buy that, but they never go there. And it literally has a glass piece in front, and this thing takes so much damage. She's screaming through, I would say, at least 15, 20 minutes of this film. Just like, just screaming up a storm. And, because she falls out of the air, and she gets blown up, she gets knocked all over the place, and this neck does not get damaged. I found that hard to believe, too. She gets shot at 100 times in this mech. Probably more than 100 times. She probably takes like at least 1,000 bolts to her mech, and it never gets damaged. Only towards the end does it get damaged. So her arc is that she's got to trust the AI in the suit to sync with it and get past her inhibitions to doing that and her fear to be able to be, and this is why the other thing I didn't buy is that only up to a certain point so if they're 60% linked or 40% linked, they can do certain things. If they're 60% linked, then they can do other things. If they're 100% linked, then they can do other things. I didn't buy that. If you're synced or you're not. You can't be semi-synced. That doesn't make any sense. So there was a lot of holes here that had me thinking in the back of my head going, what? That makes no sense. So you have to get through all of that. The CGI in some pieces is but that's okay because I'm okay with. I grew up with very shaky effects from the 80s and 90s, so when it has a little bit of shaky effects, I don't really pound off because I'm like, are you using your imagination or that kind of thing? And then I'll give you points for that rather than is your CGI perfect. So. Because all the green screen in Star Wars originally wasn't good either, especially like in the pit from Jabba's palace. Some of that CGI some of that green screen was really bad, but we didn't care, whatever. So I feel like that here, but we really weren't pushing the imaginative envelope because we've seen all this before. Yes, it was the first time we actually saw the Mech kind of doing this. We have seen mechs before, but I think this took the Mech things a little bit further than other movies have. But we've already seen AI, that want to kill humans, and humans are going to kill themselves, so we have to save you. We've seen them all. We've seen all that already. Yes, there was a personal thing between her and Simu Liu, but I don't know. That really, I didn't really feel it. So I don't know. I wanted to feel something, but I didn't. If that makes any sense. So there really isn't something very touching. It's more touching between, I guess, her AI and the bot. That relationship was what drove the movie, and if that didn't work, then the whole movie wouldn't have worked. And at least that part worked, I thought. So that was the glue that held this together, and I thought that kind of worked. So that was the only thing. If that didn't work, this whole movie would have been trash. So, and a lot of people are calling it trash, but I don't think it was. I don't think it was trash. I just think it was just middle of the road. So if you're a fan of sci-fi, you're a fan of Mech, or if you're a fan of J-Lo, I think you'll like it. If you're not a fan of any of those things, then you'll probably hate it. It does slow down at points. But when the action goes and you don't mind her screaming through the whole thing, then you're fine. And that's the other thing. Obviously, if she was trained, she wouldn't be screaming up her head off every time her mech fell over. So anyway, on a scale to 1 to 10, this is probably a 5. It's total middle of the road. Maybe 5.5. It's not a movie I'm going to probably see again. I wish it was. I wish they had taken it to that next level and given me some more of the Mech stuff. But I guess they really couldn't afford it. So they had, we could afford one Mech for the most of the movie. And that's how I kind of felt with this, is that they kind of took everybody off the board, so there was only one Mech they had to animate. I don't know. It was very strange. So I would have liked more of the Marine stuff going on, but we really don't get to see it very much. We get to see it in one scene, and that's pretty much it. And then at the end, you'll see what kind of happens at the end. They have to get to this life pod, but it's still over before she even gets there. So the ending didn't make any sense. Not the very ending, but the plot A ending. So anyway, let me know what you guys think. Did you watch it? Did you like it? Did you hate it? Did you think it was worse than a middle of the road movie? Anyway, let me know. And in the meantime, remember to give me a thumbs up. It also helps with the algorithm. If you're not already subscribed to the channel, please do, because again, I do have that live stream going on that will notify you. Also, you can get notified by clicking the link below and just click notify. It'll let you know when we're about to launch. And remember to go to Backer Kit, also in the link below in the description, and you can see the back of it as well. It's got art by Mark Spears. He does a lot of comic book covers and things like that, but he did this whole thing with classic monsters. So there's like Creature from the Black Lagoon there, which we call Creature from the Deep, and also here is the expansion with Wizard of Oz, where you can play as Dorothy the Wicked Witch. I also have the other witches in here, the orthogonal witches, and also Tin Man and Cowardly Lion and TikTok and all those guys are all in. And Scarecrow, all those guys are in there. But anyway, I think you'll like it. And anyway, there's a video also on the Backer Kit page, which is really all animated and stuff like that. So anyway, check it out below. Check out some other videos before you go, or as it pops up. And I will see you guys in the next one. All right, thanks for watching, guys.